Wholeness, welcome. This is Josh of Interskilled. Today I have Rich Lewis with me. Rich, how's it going?
Good, good. Thanks for having me on. I know you have a kind of a newer podcast, and I was on a different one a couple years back, so nice to reconnect.
That's right. We chatted on my other podcast, which I'm winding down now. For the most part, it'll still be going on just a minimalized basis, integratingpresence.com. And I'll plan to link that in the show notes. But I'm going to start with the same general question as I do on those shows. Who is Rich Lewis and what kind of work does he do? What does he do?
Sure. So Rich Lewis has a site called silenceteaches.com, and I know when we spoke a couple years back, my book Sitting with God, A Journey to Your True Self had come out, so we talked a lot about probably the book and centering prayer. And since then, centering prayer still is a very vital practice for me. But I've added, I've moved in a direction in that centering prayer is one tool that helps me kind of connect to my true self and the actions I should take in this world. And I'm adding others that have been helpful for me in sharing them, such as affirmations and visualization and journaling and gratitude. I'm finding these are all practices that help us kind of break through our limiting beliefs and kind of live the lives that we want to live, but maybe are afraid to. So these are practices that have helped me show up in the world and take action on things that maybe I'm scared to do, but know I want to do them and should do them. And I want to help others kind of do the same thing. So that's maybe the one shift, is that centering prayer is really one of my main practices, but I want to share things that have helped me with others to help people kind of break through their limiting beliefs and do and amazing things in their lives so they don't regret their life, at the end of the when we're all ready to pass, we don't live lives of regret.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. Let's um, why do you feel there is so much kind of regret and diminishment in lives and people's lives that that lead to these things? And then I want to get into some of these new tools you've been working with, and we can explore some of those a little bit.
Sure. I think, and I'll think of myself. I think fear. I think we don't do things that we know we should do or that we want to do for various reasons. We're afraid to show up. We're afraid that someone else may say something. We're afraid of what others' opinions might be. We lack confidence. We think we're too old, and this is something I should have done when I was younger, or we think we're too young and we need more wisdom to do it. So I think it's just fear, anxiety, worry, lack of confidence, fear of what other people will think of us. So fear of showing up and what the reaction from the world will be, when I think a lot of times everybody is doing their own thing and not even paying attention to us. I don't mean that in a bad way, but we often think people are watching us and they're not. And like my daughter, I tell her that constantly. She's in her early 20s and she'll be talking to me, and I'm like, people aren't even paying it. Not that they don't care about you, but they don't even notice that you did that. They're too busy living their lives. So I think a lot of those things are main reasons why we just don't show up and take action.
This is a really good point. And when this was really bugging me for quite a while, I think some of it has to do with we want to be seen as important, a lot of times. And then we think a lot of other people are paying attention to us. But when I learned that this saying that what other people think about me is none of my business, it was a huge relief, It just kind of flips the tables, flips the script on that, that I can't control what other people think either. So it's kind of like a beating our head into the wall or fruitless effort in a way. Now, but then the other extreme of this, I feel, is that there's a complete disregard for ethics. Some people go in the other It's almost sociopathic. I mean, that's the a really big extreme, But for in the middle here, this ethical grounding of, okay, now that we do have this kind of freedom and power that we can almost do whatever we want. I mean, within certain confines, we have an ethical grounding that does give some kind of restraint then too. But it depends what audience we're dealing with. If we're dealing with the little me that doesn't want to upset anyone, or that thinks that they have to people please everyone, a set of techniques will be good for them compared to people that are just like, I'll just do whatever I want whenever I can. And this brings me to this notion of power that I wanted to ask you about. On your YouTube channel, I see various themes and prefaced with the power of. So yes, there in a way, there's so much diminishment of people's power, especially in men in the world. We see others with power, and our relationship to power. So I'll just ask you, what have you learned about power itself? Like, how would you maybe define power, and what is kind of the proper use of power?
Sure. No, and I guess you're alluding to I off of my site when I have my weekly meditation, then I have a weekly tip, and it's usually the power of something that I found valuable that's helped me, and I want to share with others. And then I actually will turn around and repurpose my little tip into a video. So I have various ones. I have my newest one is, and I'm taking a look, is, or I'll just rattle off some of the names. I guess the power, or the last one I did was the power of asking for help, because and then I just kind of reflect on lessons I've learned in my life, that you can do life alone, or you can ask for help, and then I reflect on things that I did and have accomplished because I actually asked for help or accepted the help from someone. Such as my first book that I published. Someone asked me to write it. It wasn't even on my radar, and then he mentored me through the process. So in that case, someone asked me, and then I accepted their help. And then the publication of the book itself, I was on a Zoom call, and it was really just to help other people. And then when it was my turn to talk, I mentioned I had written a book and I was having some struggles finding a publisher. And lo and behold, the editor where it's now published was on the Zoom call. And then kind of the last example I have in that audio, that video is, at the beginning of 2023, interiorly, I knew it was time to look for a new job, and I work remotely. And I reached out to peers that I knew in the industry I work in at the various companies, and we talked, and I filled a journal full of notes on how they liked the company, what they liked, what they didn't like, and then I kind of honed in on where I thought I would fit. And then with using that help, then I posted for jobs, interviewed, and I accepted the help of people, and landed within a short period of time, in a couple months, landed a new position, and I've been there now a year. So I just kind of reflect on, I can do life alone, or I can ask for help. And then I turn around and help others. Some people naturally come to you, others you can see they need help, and you ask them, can I help you? So that was one example. So the power of asking for help, and I just, the power of silence is another one where I just reflect on, how sitting in silence has helped me. The power of a morning routine. I talk about the idea of how that sets my day. The power of action, where I just set intentions for the day with maybe one, two, or three things I want to do that day. And I'll just end it with the power of a mastermind. I had always heard that was a great thing to do, but I wasn't in one. I didn't know how to find one, and I participated in Jack Canfield 3-month program, and it was via Zoom. And they had a private Facebook group, and I took a chance and just put out there in the group that I'd like to start one. This is who I am. I'm on the East Coast. These are the times that I could do it. Let me know if you're interested. And lo and behold, 5 other people came forth, and we've been meeting now for almost 3 months, and it's just been amazing to connect with these people. It's a 1-hour call we hold, and we help each other, we encourage each other, we motivate each other, and we help each other move forward in life with things we want to do, and hold each other accountable. So those are kind of examples of where I just want to share the power of something that has helped me with someone else, in case it can also help them.
Well, cool. It's this notion of asking for help too that you at the first part. What remember a time in my life where I thought that was kind of weak, right? That oh, I have to concede to something that something's wrong and I need help. That and I don't really look at it like that anymore. It's about and then but I have to also realize that not everybody wants my help. And that's why that beautiful question you have, is there anything I can do? How can I help? That way I'm not imposing my help on someone that doesn't ask for it, which is a big lesson. Because some people take that as like, oh, they're doing something wrong too, or I didn't do it right, well enough. So this is one thing that I grapple with because now I'm just like, okay, if my life can be improved or less crappy, I want to be open to anything that can be better than doing it how I'm doing it. Better way to see things and respond to things than what I'm doing now. I don't take it as a lack of failure. I take it as how it would be for my benefit and the benefit of others. So of course I'm open to that. But not everybody sees it like that, and I have to realize that too. And another thing, when we receive someone's help or ask someone to do a service or something like this, or be involved with someone else's work, we're actually helping them. Because without us asking for that, their wisdom can't be propagated. Their wisdom,
Right.
they have a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of wisdom, a wealth of beautiful heart qualities. But if there's no one there to receive it, then they can't help. So I'm actually helping them by receiving their help, is what I'm trying to say. So, yeah.
No, that makes perfect sense. We're helping others by letting them help us, and we're helping ourselves. So something that maybe would take 5 years, we can shorten the time frame because we've asked for help and we've accepted help rather than either never accomplishing it or taking much, much longer to accomplish it.
Yeah, exactly. And it works in more mundane everyday life. Like if we go to a restaurant, I'm not saying eat out all the time or whatever, but because we go there, we're offering the people that work there a living, right? With, that we're buying their service, but we're also providing money so they can have a livelihood and live too. So it's this interchange, this interconnectivity that we have with each other, that it's a mutual interaction, mutually beneficial, I guess. Yeah.
Right.
So, but I wanted to go back briefly to the power itself. With especially I think with the masculine, there's a lot of disempowerment, or at least in my sense, sometimes in the past I've seen like I see people in the world with power, or people in the spiritual world with power, and there's different kinds of views and responses. I think the more beneficial one is a respect and honoring of that, and a notion of how do I hold that, what's the best way to either contribute to that or maybe receive some of this power. I think maybe a detrimental view of power would be like, I want to take that guy down, he's got it, I don't, so what can I do to get it, this type of thing. So in my experience, power itself, it seems to come and go, right? So when it comes and it's there, what's the best way? What do we do with it? And then realize that, it will ebb and flow. We will seem to have more power and less power throughout our lives. So like, what's our relationship to that? And yeah, what's the kind of best way to go about this? And then empowering other men and ourselves too. There's really healthy ways to empower things that are going to be for our benefit and that of others. And encouragement. These are really important things that I think go along with this notion of power. Yes.
No, I mean, I think we forget often that we're really in a very we can either come from to life with scarcity mentality or with an abundance mentality. Um, so we can fear that I need if someone else is doing that, I can't do it when it's really not true. I think of it like my book. I can share others in the same space and their work because if you think about it, there's billions of people that could buy both of our books. So why don't we both collaborate and work together? Or there's billions of people that need our help or products or our services. So I think we can come at it from scarcity and competition, or we can come at it from there's an abundance out there and we can both collaborate. We can collaborate and share, because maybe my book's the right book for someone, and then someone else's book is the right book for someone, or maybe someone else's service or product is better than mine for that person. But there's billions, millions, and billions of people that probably could benefit from what you have to offer. So I think just coming at it from that standpoint, abundant mentality, not a scarcity mentality, is a big lesson I've learned.
Beautiful, and it absolutely is helpful in my experience too, to look at abundance and boundlessness. And there's certain things in life that don't have limits, don't have boundaries, and that there is a lot of abundance. I mean, just look at nature, right, in certain
Right.
areas. And then this notion of cooperation instead of competition all the time. There can still be friendly competitions, but what about the cooperation? We're not conditioned enough, I think, at least in Western society, to cooperate, to build on each other's strengths together, and to help strengthen each other's weaknesses together. There's plenty to go around, right?
Right.
So let's jump into some of these new tools that you're working with. I also saw the Enneagram on your site, but just pick one that's coming up now that you want to talk to people about, and what it is and how it has benefited you, how to work with it.
Sure. Well, I guess affirmations definitely, and really, I'll start my affirmation with "I'm so happy and grateful now that." And I kind of stole that from I've read a lot of Bob Proctor, and maybe he stole it from someone else, but that doesn't matter. So I'll start off my affirmation as "I'm so happy and grateful now that," and then the rest of the sense is kind of what I want to do or accomplish, whether it's with my family and my personal mental health, my physical health, something I want to accomplish at my day job, something I want to accomplish with my website, something I want to accomplish with, the writing of my second book. So affirmations are really important. So I have in my iPad an affirmation section, and I'll read them almost every day, and then go into my centering prayer sit and kind of give them to God to say. And I do that because I want to kind of partner with God, and here they are, but if I need to tweak them, I think you'll give me the inner tuition to do so. Or if I need to get rid of them, you'll have me get rid of them, because I want to partner with God on what it is I should be doing. And then really my barometer of that is, if it gives me inner peace and calm and an excitement, it's probably a good affirmation. And as long as it doesn't harm me or harm someone else, it's going to stick as an affirmation. So affirmations have been kind of very vital for me, because you can read them, and then you can kind of go into visualization, where you can visualize that you've accomplished them. So those two can kind of go together, where you're affirming it, visualizing it, and then you can and then you can actually even be grateful. You can even take it a step further. I mean, I like gratitude in that I like to reflect on the day and what am I grateful for today, small, medium, and big. But I also like to be grateful for things that I will do. So I'll kind of have an expectation that I'm going to do that affirmation, and I'm grateful that it's coming into fruition.
These are cool things. My version of affirmations, and I love how you have that check and balance on that too, right? Because if something's not kind of in alignment or working, then you kind of get feedback, and then it will drop off, and then kind of a more focus on which ones. I do it just a little bit differently. Use aspirations, so
Okay.
aspire to certain things that way, because um, I found it in mind that if I give one that's not realistic, I mean, usually don't, because we can kind of see that. But just for an example, if I say something that's completely in conflict with reality, how things are now, the mind will just start rejecting it hardcore. So I could acknowledge how it is now, then aspire to where, and I would kind of imagine and visualize the benefits that would come from that if I train and open up to this aspiration that has, and then recognize that maybe I'm not there now, but I can see the benefits of training and aspiring to bring that, to open up to that, to invite that in, to go towards that aspiration. And yeah, it's inspiring, and an aspiration is inspiring too. So that's just how it's just a slight tweak, but this notion of actually setting those intentions, those aspirations, those affirmations, it gives kind of something more tangible, right, in our mind, in our experience, to then have happen. So that's the notion behind this. In the visualization, we know about vision boards and visualizations, kind of what there's this old classic saying, what one frequently thinks and ponders upon becomes the inclination of the mind. So the things that we repetitiously think on and think on and think on, our mind will then incline towards those. So that's why it's so important how we use our mind and what we do with it, because it is really influential and will have a huge impact. So yes, beautiful. And then gratitude too. I can't really stress that enough. In the morning before I even get out of bed, I just spontaneously start thinking of things that I'm grateful for. And it's almost impossible to be in conflict with something I'm grateful for. So we have these conflicts, internal and external, but it's tough to do when we're grateful for things. Also, when we're serving things too, whatever we're in service to, it's going to be hard to be in conflict for that if we're doing it authentically, right? And then if we're celebrating something, it's going to be hard to be in conflict during celebration. So I love these things. Okay, so let's talk about maybe one more tool, and then I
Okay.
think we might start wrapping it up. Which other ones are you into now, and how have you found they've been helpful?
I would say journaling, and journaling, I think you can do it in various ways. I think, including myself, we don't take enough time to pause and reflect and plan. We're just going, 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 and we need to stop and think, what do I really want? What do I really want to do? What is really important to me, rather than get up and go. So journaling, and you can do it in many different ways. You can just write nonstop and not judge it. Sometimes I just write one word at a time. Um, Sometimes I just write a phrase. So I think it's important just to take the time to pause and reflect. Or even I have my website, and I might want to think, well, what kind of posts do I want to write? So I actually, in a notebook, put posts at the top of the page, and I set a timer for 5 minutes, and I just wrote down, what kind of posts do I want to write? And when the timer went off, I stopped. And then I went to the next page and I call it videos. What kind of videos do I want to create? And I would set a 5 minute timer. And that kind of stuff. So I think you could do that in many different ways. What do I want to do with my wife? What are some things that are important to us to do together? And then just set a timer for 5 minutes. So I think journaling, and I think the idea of just pausing and reflecting on what do you really want. I think I know I don't do enough of that, and I just get up and go instead of giving some thought and planning and reflection on what do I really want, and what's really important to me.
Well, that's beautiful. I love this notion of setting a timer too. Then we know that that's what we have carved in the day, and that's not going to eat into our day. We can take that time out, and it also focuses the mind. We have 5 minutes to do it. Okay, let's see what we can do in 5 minutes. And I want to mention too, for maybe the younger crowd, and I still do this. I keep a journal every night. I use it more to reflect on my day, just more like a life log of what I did that day. But putting pen on paper, it's something that a lot of the newer generation doesn't do it. There's something about kind of manifestation or bringing it into physicality when we actually take something physical and put it down instead of just only in a virtual world. So I would encourage people too to see what the difference is between just typing on a machine, putting in a machine only, and versus actually using pen and paper, which is becoming not as popular as it once was. So, all right, Rich, I appreciate your time here and coming on and sharing these tools and thoughts and insights, and what's helped you, and practical, philosophical too, spiritual. Let's wrap up by telling folks what do you have going on now? What do you want to draw people's attention to? How can people get your books? Do you have openings in the mastermind? Do you have any things coming up like that? Seminars, anything at all you want to plug, and then take us out on a message. Take the audience, the listeners, and the watchers, for those who are watching too. Anything you'd like to leave us with?
Sure, sure. So I guess one of the best places to find me is silenceteaches.com. When they subscribe, they'll get my free centering prayer ebook just to see if this is a practice of taking time to sit in silence is something that resonates with them. But then when they get my meditation, my weekly meditation has a couple of things. It has a meditation with a message, and then at the bottom of it I have a weekly tip, and I shared a couple of them, call them the power of, and then I have a weekly video, which really is just a past tip repurposed to a video because a lot of people like to watch you as well. Um, and then I have my friend Brian Russell and I, we do a monthly, we do it on Zoom. It's free. It's the third Saturday of each month at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have a centering prayer gathering where we give a talk. We have a centering prayer sit that we do with the people that have joined us, and then the remainder of the time is just for people to ask questions, talk, reflect, share their journeys with us. So I invite anybody to join us on that. We've been doing that now for over 2 years, and it's been a whole lot of fun. And we have people from all over the U.S. as well as internationally join us. So those are some of the things that I'm up to. I just invite people just to pop over, maybe subscribe, and see how they can conquer their limiting beliefs and become not live a life of regret. And I share various practices that I think can help them do that, such as that we talked about: gratitude, centering prayer, visualization, affirmations, and other things. As I learn them, I'll continue to share them. I just want to help people kind of live the lives that they maybe are afraid to live, but really know they want to do. So I would just encourage them to pop over to my site and see what I have going on. And if it resonates, join me on the journey forward.
Well, beautiful, Rich. Thanks again for joining, and may all you out there find your most optimal and ideal ways of being and living. Bye now.